Thank you everyone for joining me today for the Getting Buy-in for Your SEO Strategy webinar. So a little bit about myself till other people join. I'm Sarah Taher. I've been doing SEO since 2014, so that's 10 years now. I worked both agency side and client side. I'm based in Ontario, Canada, and right now I work agency side, and I also speak. I'm an author. I just published an article that I recommend you read on Search Engine Land about the new era of SEO. And I'm very active on LinkedIn, so you can always find me there, and you can reach out anytime if you have questions. You can also find me on sarah-taher.com. That's my newsletter. Feel free to sign up. I'm going to share a lot of stuff after the webinar, so you don't have to type down notes or anything. I also recently launched Python for Marketers workshop, and after this webinar, one person that signed up for this webinar is going to be a lucky winner for free access to the workshop. And again, I'm going to share that afterwards. And everyone is going to get a discount coupon on the workshop. You can also join the waiting list for my SEO strategy course. It's work in progress. I'm designing it to be fun and interesting, not boring. And yeah, I hope you like it when it comes out. That said, let's get started. So we're talking about getting buy-in for your SEO strategy. What do we mean by buy-in, right? Like approval? No. So you may discuss your strategy with other stakeholders and they may conceptually agree with it. However, that does not mean they may provide you the resources you need to execute on it. They may okay, in concept it's good. However, they don't see why they should still support it. So getting buy-in is about actually getting the resources you need to execute on your SEO strategy. It can be content, it can be budget, it can be developer time, product team cooperation, product marketing, whatever that it's needed for you to execute on your SEO strategy. So this is about getting the resources to execute. Okay, so in SEO, we have a traditional thinking how to get a buy-in. The first thing you'll always hear is don't talk about SEO and technical jargon. Don't talk about indexability, crawlability, core web vitals, things like that. Because your audience may not understand these things. Maybe you're talking to C-suite executives or people not in marketing or product team or whoever you're talking to. They may not understand those technical terms. So avoid talking about these and adapt your presentation or your deck to your audience. So for example, again, if you're talking to a marketing leader, then yeah, you can maybe talk about clicks, impressions, rankings. But then if you're talking to a C-suite executive, CEO or CTO or that sort of thing, then maybe you should just focus your talk about business goals and conversions mainly. And of course, you need to always tie your efforts or whatever your plan is to business goals. And then try to have or perform an SEO forecasting to show the potential impact if your strategy is executed. And then there are 3 traditional approaches to estimate the SEO value. Sometimes you compare the SEO traffic to if you paid for that traffic, how much it would cost. So using PPC data, you estimate the cost of traffic. Tools do that right now. Or you just estimate the potential search volume, and from there you calculate the potential conversions and then potential revenue. Or another way that's also good is actually checking what your competitors' traffic is, and saying we're going to try to capture 30% of that or whatever, and see what business value that's going to bring to your business. So all of these things are good points. However, these are not enough, because from experience, you'd know that organizations are not that data-driven. Individuals are not that data-driven. It's not a numbers game. It's not about the math. I'm not saying the math is not important. It is important because you need to do your research and make sure that you did your research correctly, and you have a reason to ask for those things, and your estimated impact is justifies going through with that strategy. However, even if you have those numbers, this may not help. And there are other challenges we're going to talk about. So this is not enough. It's very good. It's not enough. Okay. So what is the problem? This approach, the traditional approach, may increase your chances of getting buy-in. However, that's not enough, as I said. If you're just focusing on building a business case, this is like you're assuming you're going to feed people numbers and then you're going to get the output you want. You're dealing with people, not machines. So that's not the case. There are many obstacles to get buy-in, and we don't talk about them enough in SEO. So we don't actually talk about the political side of things, right? There are politics that may help you get or not get your SEO strategy executed. So some of the reasons, for example, there is resistance to change. Some organizations and individuals, specific individuals in organizations, they don't want to change the way they have been doing things. So especially if they have been working in the same position or same organization for like 5 years plus, they have been used to doing a specific thing the same way. And then you come in and, hey, let's write content in a different way. Let's update those pages. Let's do this, let's do that. They may not want to do this because you'll always hear them say, we've always done it this way. Why do you want to change it now? And then another challenge is organizational silos. You need to get buy-in from different teams. So from the technical team, from the dev team, right? And then from the content team. And then if you need UX changes, then from the UX team and so on. So getting buy-in from CEO does not mean that all teams are gonna like execute. For example, the dev team might say, "Okay, yeah, sure. However, we don't feel this is a priority. We already have a technical debt. It can be SEO as well." So, and they throw your recommendations back in the backlog, right? So, getting buy-in because of the way a lot of organizations are structured in silos is also a challenge. And last but not least, if they had, and I've encountered this multiple times, if they had negative experiences with previous SEOs. So for example, one time I had on LinkedIn a client reach out for a potential, like he wanted me for consultation. And one thing he kept like asking for, I want to focus on the content. I want to do semantic SEO. Like he had specific requests and I was, okay, that's fine. And his problem is that his previous SEO did not focus on those things. So they have now the client comes in, they have a bad experience with a previous SEO, and now they want to tell you, they want to define your SEO strategy. If you come up with something that a bit different to what they want or expect, even if it's going to work, because they don't know what's good for them, there's going to be pushback because now we know what we're talking about. So, and this can come in different ways, right? A negative experience with a previous SEO or an agency is going to be a challenge. It's something you inherit that you need to know how to deal with, and it needs a lot of patience. So we are going to discuss those 3 issues or challenges to getting buy-in and how can we address each of them. Okay, so as I said, getting buy-in at the executive level is not going to automatically translate for buy-in on the team level, right? And also on your daily and micro SEO tasks. For example, okay, the dev team knows and are okay, they understand that they need to help you. However, every single time you send a recommendation, are you expected to provide a business case for them? Are you expected to justify and explain and provide some numbers of the impact? This is very tedious. This is not something you can actually do all the time. It's time consuming. Sometimes that's not even possible. You cannot estimate, for example, the impact of every single technical issue. You may try to, but it's just not how things should work. This is a roadblock. So how can we overcome all of this? Okay, the first thing we talked about is resistance to change. So new ideas and approaches are not always welcome. You coming in as a consultant or as an agency and you have new ideas, new concepts. And let me tell you something. In SEO today, when we talk about like some of the things that I got pushback regularly on, like since end of last year, for example, is as an SEO, if you start talking about page experience in terms of UX elements or user behavior on the page, why are you talking about this? This is not SEO. It is. So because it's a new concept, it's something new. We now learned that Google uses user click data and behavior on the page and that can impact your ranking. So this is something we need to look into. So it's a new way of thinking, and people are like, no, the resistance was from both non-SEO people and some SEO people as well, because, okay, Sarah, what do you want us to do about this? Well, I don't have to have all the answers. We can still look into that together. However, it's the idea that, oh, there's a new approach in SEO that we need to do. People are resistant to this. They don't want to change. They're familiar with their processes. They're familiar with their checklists, and something new is ambiguous for them. It's unclear, uncomfortable, right? And then another thing that's gonna happen is if you come in with something you want to change, that means you want to, in a way, undo or redo some work someone else did, and that person might get offended. So, for example, if you come in, do a content audit and say, okay, guys, 80% of the content on the website, and that can actually happen. 80% of the content on the website is not getting any traffic. It's dead weight. Expect the content team to not like hearing this. And then you're going to get pushback, not because what you're saying is not logical or that's what the math is saying. You're going to get pushback because they feel they're going to look bad. And that's what I'm talking about. Politics, migration. If you come in, do your audit and understand why migration went wrong, automatically people start thinking who's responsible for those mistakes. All you did is uncover the problems, but then who did this, who didn't do this, who should have handled this, and they start getting defensive, right? So how to handle this? Okay, that's a good question. Something I recommend you check is a book called The Iceberg is Melting. It's a short book. It's not like a long book or anything, and it's actually a story. It's fun to read. So the good news is we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Someone did the work for us and came up with steps to manage change in organizations. How can you inspire change in organizations that don't want to change, right? So the book, it talks about a colony of penguins, and they live on an iceberg. And then a penguin, one of them, noticed that their iceberg, which is their home, is melting. And obviously that's a big problem. So Fred starts to talk to people about this, and imagine, despite their home is getting impacted, he got pushback, he got resistance to any remedy he's suggesting, any idea. People are like, no, that can't be true, or it can't be that bad, or let's wait and see. And a lot of pushback. They don't want to change the place they have been living in, right? So what does Fred do? So the book talks about 8 steps to inspire change in organizations. So the first step is to create a sense of urgency. What do I mean by creating a sense of urgency? So remember the traditional part of SEO? The part where we talked about you doing your forecasting and your numbers. You show the problem. What is the problem? Why do people need to do SEO? So, for example, you have a new client come in. Maybe their website performance looks good, right? But okay, what opportunities are they're missing out on? What's there they're not going after? What are their competitors doing they're not doing? That's something you want to show them. And actually showing competitors' works like magic with product teams as well. Another way is doing a content audit, for example. I'm just giving examples, not specific, like this can be adapted to any situation. The idea is to create a sense of urgency. So, for example, with the deadweight pages, show numbers. However, as we said, people may resist that. So the best way to handle this is to pull together a guiding team, to talk to the stakeholders and involve them in the process. So go talk to the content team and tell them, hey guys, we're doing an audit to see what we can improve. You did a great work. We're just looking at it from an SEO standpoint. And then involve them. Like before going and talking to everyone about your strategy, involve the stakeholders that are going to be like the people you need to help you execute. So for the content situation, go to the content people, meet with them, show them what you're talking about, get their input. if they don't like it, try to phrase it in a different way. Don't throw it at them as, hey guys, you did horrible work. That's like, no, you did great work. Now it's my turn to add my recommendations to this and integrate this and find ways to do this in like a even better way, right? To add the missing component, which is SEO. So pull together the people responsible for the change or the strategy you want to execute. If there is a technical component, pull in one from the dev team, involve them before you come in, show them the problem and ask them, okay, guys, this is what we have here. We have this number of pages, they're not getting any traffic. Or if it's something big like changing the URL structure of a website, bring them in, discuss the problem with them. Why do you think this should be better? How would this help? And what do they think about this? What is the solution? So involve them, pull together a team and involve them in the problem. Don't just come up with a solution and throw it at them. That's not gonna make people cooperate. So once you pull people together, discuss the issue with them, now you can go to step 3, where you can lay out a solution, right? Create your solution because you took input from other stakeholders. Create your solution and then go back and then communicate. Hey, here, guys, we discussed this. Here is the suggested solution, right? Start communicating what you have discussed with them. When people feel they were involved in making the decision, they are very likely to cooperate. And then empower people. What do you mean by empower people? Don't tell people how to do their job. I know a lot of people would disagree with this. If you're working with a content team, we tend as SEOs to send very detailed briefs, right? Paragraph 1, right, about this and that. Paragraph 2, this and that. Then header, then paragraph under the header about this and that. Add a keyword in the first. Okay, we tend to do this. We're killing the creativity and the experience of that copywriter. You try to give them as much space as they can. For every marketing or even non-marketing function, content, dev, product, UX, don't try to tell people how to do their job. We have a tendency of like saying things that there are a lot of alternatives for. We go to the dev team. Hey guys, we have a problem in the sitemap. The sitemap is not dynamic. Every time you add a new URL or remove a URL, it doesn't update. How can we address this? Okay, you can come up with a recommendation, but you can always tell them there are other alternatives. If that doesn't work, I can come up with other ways. Don't push a solution on them, because they are, at the end of the day, they are the ones that can do their job better, and you need them to help you execute. So give them alternatives. So support versus micromanage. And this is more common in dealing with the content team. Micromanaging them, telling them everything to do, you're not a copywriter. If you are a good copywriter, then you should work as a copywriter. They are the creative people. They have written way more content. You need to tell them what you need from an SEO standpoint, and then set them free, let them do their thing. You need to trust your team that they will come through with their roles. And then another thing, next step is, okay, we did all of this, produce short-term wins. This is challenging in SEO, however, it's not impossible. So for example, one instance, I had a lot of pushback on a lot of my recommendations, and even like everyone would push back, anyone, like UX team, no, we don't want to do this. Product marketing, no. It was a lot. So it was the time for me to produce short-term wins. So here's what I did. I said, okay, hey guys, can we put some links in the footer? UX team pushed back and they were like, no, this is going to impact the performance and the user experience on the website. And I said, okay, guys, can you please explain to me how this is going to impact like the user experience on the website? What metric does this impact? And there was no answer. Why? Because as I said, organizations are not that data driven. So at that point, okay, I said, okay, can we test it? People are more likely to agree to test something. So I was like, okay, let's just give it a try. Let's test it. And they said, okay, we'll give it a test. So we put a few selected URLs in the footer. And then I had another set of URLs that we did not make any change. I'm using them as a control to compare. And then once we put those URLs in the footer, we started to see an increase in the trend, in the performance trend in search, clicks and impressions, right? Compared to the ones that did not have anything done to them. So you have a set of URLs that are like just stagnant where they are, and then the ones that are linked to from the footer started to show improvement in search. And even though this is a short or small win, it did help change the mindset towards SEO. Oh, so I was really surprised. The feedback I got was like, oh, so you're actually, the things you actually do are actually causing impact to the matrix we're measuring. I was like, yes. So imagine that all of those things we're talking about and getting buy-in and forecasting and all of this did not work. Seeing short-term wins, that's what helps. So try to introduce something as a test. And also saying it's a test makes you safe in terms of what if it doesn't work? Because in SEO, you're not sure 100% anything will work. It may or may not, right? And some things are more risky than others. Some things are more like some things are like 50-50. I'm not sure if they're going to work or not. Like putting links in the footer, I was like 60-40. 60% is we're gonna see something. 40% potentially, maybe those pages maxed out. This is their maximum performance. So, saying it's a test also keeps you safe. And then once you do this, okay, great. People start to see the value in what you're doing. Don't stop. You need to continue always advocating for your work. You need to always, and that's also even when you're agency side, you also always need to, when you meet with your clients, you always need to try to show them any results. So for example, I worked with a client and we send recommendations to update pages, and that was like a year ago. And they updated those pages, and once we started seeing those, or more than a year ago actually, anyways, once we started seeing the improvement for those pages, I started, as part of the reporting, we do month over month, year over year, and all the traditional reporting, and then examples of some of those small wins, like this page, because I mean, usually you don't go that granular in reporting, in monthly reporting, but giving some examples is definitely going to help. And then from there, you're creating a new culture where there's a problem, you get people in, take their input, develop a strategy, and follow those steps. So this new culture is going to help you avoid this resistance to change, okay? So that's that for resistance to change. The second thing is organizational silos. People work in silos. Teams work in silos. That's how things are. And what I found to be very useful is having weekly or bi-weekly meetings with your point of contact. Or again, I mean, if you're working agency side, you still have to have those regular meetings, right? But it's a good idea to, maybe you can request your client to bring specific stakeholders. If you're discussing content, sometimes you can ask them, hey, can you bring a copywriter from your team? So they are, up to speed with what we're working on, and they can give their input in those meetings. So try to have weekly or bi-weekly meetings. One of the things I did, and it can be, if you're in-house, it can be like 15 minutes. And agency side, sometimes you have your usual bi-weekly or even monthly meeting with like the marketing leader, and then you have bi-weekly meeting with someone who's like a content manager, or like you plan your meetings in a way that works for you to get things done. So and it can be as short as 15 minutes. For example, when I worked in-house, I had short meetings bi-weekly with PPC. And what we did is I would share what I'm working on, she would share what she's working on, and we actually started finding opportunities to collaborate. For example, CTR tests and CRO tests, right? And that was really, really cool, and a learning opportunity for me and her as well. And then sorry guys. Okay, I'm good. Okay, let's go back. So one thing that I find very useful is to always share credit. You came up with the content audit and the content plan. You did the keyword research. You did the technical audit. You recommended the fixes. But there are other individuals that did the heavy lifting for you. Other people that spent time to execute on your recommendations. If you go to your client meeting or in-house meeting and you just start talking, hey, these are the recommendations I sent, and this is the work I have done, and then these are the results, you're not being very fair, because there are other individuals that have been involved in this, and it's always good to give a hat tip to, or not even to mention that people, okay, we collaborated with the content team and we did so and so, and the results were that. We collaborated with the dev team to fix those issues, and then we were able to recover the migration, and so on. Okay, this is something we often forget. SEO is not a solo sport. You're not playing tennis, you're playing soccer. So you need to give credit when it's due. Okay. Last thing, the trust issue. Now you have people who came in to work with you and they had previous negative experiences with agencies or with SEOs. It's a problem. And one of my favorite quotes on this is, trust is the conduit for influence. It's the medium through which ideas travel. People will not listen to your ideas if they don't trust you. They will always be questioning what you say. That's a problem. As I said, it's not a numbers thing. You can come up with all the numbers. It's a trust thing. There are other components to getting the help you need. And one of the quotes I read on LinkedIn that I really, really like, and I believe 100%, business moves at the speed of trust. Imagine if every single small recommendation, you have to build a business case. Hey guys, can we fix those 404s? Now you have to build a business case to convince people. It doesn't work like that. That's a waste of time and energy. And sometimes you won't be able to build a good business case. So that's where trust comes in. They will execute on things because they trust you. And that's what happens most of the time. Businesses are not that data oriented or that data driven as we would like to think. And trust is going to make it easy for you to execute on your day-to-day SEO tasks. So what do you need to do? You need to build trust in two things: your experience and your character. So two things. Don't focus on them. I really think we don't talk about these things enough. To build trust in your character, don't gossip. I know a lot of people gossip, and it's just part of like casual thing they do. If you gossip about your team members, they will not trust you. And if you talk to your clients and gossip about, I don't know, other people on their team, or they will not, even though you're gossiping with them, they will still not trust you that much, right? Avoid gossiping. That's 100% something to build trust. Second thing is, and I heard someone literally recommending this, so that's what never do this, is if someone is not cooperating or not helping you execute, go to their manager. Never fly over the head of someone to their manager before talking to them and resolving it with them. No one likes that. In the history of all corporate and career lives, no one likes if someone goes over their head to their manager to tell them, to ask them to make you do something. No one likes that. So don't do that. If you need something to get it done, talk to the person that should get it done. Build a relation with them. Don't go over their head. And then last thing on the character area, always be helpful, always be supportive. Don't hold back. Share the credit, as I said. Do your best to support others on your team. 1 second. Okay, and then when it comes to building trust in your expertise, one more point about your character: have people's back. Don't try to score points by making others look bad. Because, I mean, if you've worked in a company or any place, you probably have seen this example at least once in your career, where someone tries to point a mistake you did in front of leadership, or in front of management or whatever, right? Don't do this. You don't look good by making others look bad. You look good by doing good work. Okay, full stop. Now, how to build trust in your expertise. Show dedication in your work, your deliverables. I have come, I have saw, I've seen a proper amount of deliverables, of SEO deliverables in my career. And small things matter, attention to details matter, whether you're working agency side or in-house. And specifically people in-house, for some reason, they sometimes they don't care about the look and feel of the deliverables. Always double check, always make sure every single thing you recommend looks good. If you don't invest time in making your deliverable look good, it's just a reflection of your work ethics, or it's just not going to make you look good, even though you may have the best recommendations in there. So show dedication, attention to detail, and then share your knowledge when appropriate, when possible. If you're in a meeting and don't take the lead on speaking all the time in meetings, because no one likes a person who just doesn't stop talking in meetings and doesn't give a chance to other people. However, try to contribute, try to support when that's possible. Try to explain complex SEO issues and concepts in a simple way. People will trust you when they understand what you're talking about. The less they understand, the less they'll be, the more they are skeptical to what you're saying. What is that? I don't understand what this is. If they don't understand, they will not cooperate or agree with you. So invest time in thinking how you can simplify things and concepts to clients, to other stakeholders you work with. It's going to take you a long way. Last but not least, always raise your hand to support and help when you can. If there is a project, hey guys, okay, how can I help? How can SEO help? And even sometimes you may go outside the scope of SEO because you want to be a team player. So, for example, hey, we're working on a website report for all channels. Okay, I can help if that's needed. If there's like a narrow deadline, something we need to meet. So it's not SEO. You can obviously not participate, but if they need help, step in and help. Content team, if they need additional support in helping them getting things done, like they need I don't know, as an additional pair of eyes on, or someone to double check the internal linking, or someone to double check the H2 tags or whatever, jump in, right? Don't like you try to be a team player, and it's not going to come coincidentally that you become a team player. You need to have this mindset and do it intentionally. Okay. um, Yep. So, in summary, numbers are good. They're not enough. Do your math, do your research, but that's not enough. There are politics, there are other elements to getting things done that you need to take into account. So, spend 10 minutes, exactly, it's going to take you 10 minutes in understanding how to manage change within an organization. Check the iceberg is melting. There are videos as well on YouTube that explain the story. It's an interesting story, so it's not a boring thing. I like how they translated those steps into a story that you can remember and execute on. Learn to navigate in organizational silos, learn to build connections with other people, build relations with other people. Something I learned in my career, if people don't like you, they will not work with you, they will not cooperate with you. There, as I said, it's not always about the math or about how good the work is. There are other factors, and we cannot turn look away from them. And then most important thing overall is to build trust in both your character and your expertise. Yep, that's that. What do you think, guys? Thanks, Mohammed. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. So what's going to happen? I'm going to send you, as I said, all the stuff I shared in the beginning. You're going to get a link to my newsletter. one lucky winner for the Python for Marketers workshop. You're going to get a discount coupon. I'm going to also share a link for the waiting list for the SEO strategy course. So, and a recording of that webinar as well. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Great. Okay, guys, thank you so much for showing up today. I really appreciate that. And see you next webinar. I'll let you know if you want to hear about the next webinar. Make sure to sign up on my newsletter or follow me on LinkedIn so you find out about the next webinar. Okay. I'm not sure when it's going to be, but I hope probably October or early November. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good one.